yeah, to kind of go back at the beginning, we first got into domino like building and Rube Goldberg creating when we were around 11 years old. So we saw this guy on America's Got Talent. His name was Kinetic King, and he built stuff with like popsicle sticks and like these chain reaction things, and we wanted to try it ourselves just because we thought it was so cool. And then that eventually led us into finding domino videos on YouTube, and we were like instantly hooked, and we were like getting as many dominoes as we could. We would build a lot with Jenga blocks and like the ones with the dots on it for the game. And we started just like building these small setups in a garage. This is still when we were like 11, 12, 13 years old. But then eventually as we got older, we kind of stuck with it, and we grew it more into like a hobby rather than something we just did for fun. And along the way, we started our YouTube channel, Daks Dominoes. And throughout high school and college, we were able to grow that YouTube channel to have a pretty large audience with several viral videos. And yeah, that's kind of a summary of that.
Yeah, I think definitely when we were in high school, that was kind of like our biggest like growth period for our YouTube channel. I think when we had most of our viral videos, we had a couple videos get to like 10 million views, and that's kind of really what jump started our domino career, I guess. So yeah, that's kind of what slowly led to us getting more and more opportunities, and what's like eventually led to us getting on TV.
Yeah, so I mean, there's been a couple instances actually where we've been on TV. The first one was Domino Masters, which was filmed in 2021, and then they aired it in 2022. But basically how it started was that we just kind of got this random email saying like, hey, we're out casting, looking for domino artists to compete in like a competition show basically. And we didn't know whether this was something legit or whatever, but eventually it kind of led into something like, oh, this is actually like something, like this seems like it could actually go somewhere. And eventually we were casted to be on the show, and that led us to be on Domino Masters, where we got put together with our teammate Lyle Broughton. And if you've seen it, we went all the way from the first round all the way to the finale, and we ended up winning the entire show. So I think one thing that led us to do that is that we always pushed to do things that were never seen before. It wasn't just like the same old, repetitive domino tricks or designs. We were always trying to combine the Rube Goldberg chain reaction elements with dominoes and trying to do things that were riskier than ever.
I think Domino Masters was also partly the reason we got onto America's Got Talent, because I remember when the casting producers from AGT first reached out to us, they said they saw us on Domino Masters. They thought like our team was pretty cool, and I think they originally wanted me, Derek, and Lyle to come on the show as a team. And it didn't quite work for Lyle, and then it ended up just being me and Derek going on. So yeah, it was kind of cool to think that, it kind of started just from small YouTube videos that led into viral videos, which I think those viral videos led to Domino Masters, and the Domino Masters led to AGT. It's kind of a whole chain.
Yeah, and something else to think of is just kind of like the full circle thing. We got into doing this from watching this guy in America's Got Talent. That kind of inspired us. And then finally, just this past spring, we were invited to audition on America's Got Talent. And it was super cool just kind of seeing us on TV. It was a really surreal experience because we grew up as a family watching that show. It was kind of like a weekly tradition. Every Tuesday, Wednesday night, we would watch America's Got Talent. But yeah, just being there and being on stage, seeing the judges, and then seeing everything on TV was pretty surreal.
Explain what it was like behind the scenes at America's Got Talent.
Yeah, so behind the scenes was actually pretty interesting. So we didn't originally request to get on AGT or audition. The producers reached out to us to come on the show, and we kind of learned that that's how most of the acts actually get on the show. The producers actually recruit them. I think 80% of the acts probably happens that way, which is kind of interesting to think about. And then, so we got to, I think it was filmed in Pasadena. So we got to our hotel, and the hotel was connected to the theater that we performed in. So all the acts are staying in this hotel. So you're kind of walking around the hotel, and you're kind of thinking oh, is this guy an act? These guys kind of look like they might be on AGT. So you kind of see that. And then when we finally had to go to set to do our preparations, kind of intro interviews and stuff, they kind of threw us in this big backstage room with I think you see this on TV actually. It's all the acts are in this one big holding room. So you can talk to a lot of different people, kind of find out why people are there, what they do. So it was definitely interesting to talk to all these different acts and kind of see see what they're doing.
Yeah, and then just like, I mean, I remember before we went out to stage, before we went onto the stage for the very first time, when we were kind of backstage ready to go out, I just remember being like super nervous, kind of, or just like thinking, or just being excited, honestly, that we were like, we're actually going to go out there, we're going to see the judges, we're going to be able to perform our talent on America's Got Talent, a show that we grew up on. So, but it was interesting when we were out there, it really felt like we weren't out there for very long. I mean, it was kind of a blur just because of how cool it was, but you go out there, tell the judges, what you're going to do, you do your thing, and that's kind of it. But yeah, the judges really loved it, and the crowd, they were super loud. They loved it too, and that was something different. We've never done like dominoes in front of a massive crowd like that. We've done it for some library programs, but that's kind of the furthest that's gone.
I think other than AGT, the biggest crowd we did a domino build for was maybe 300 people.
Yeah,
and at AGT there was maybe 3,000 people in there. But it was funny because when we walked on the stage and we were talking to the judges, I wasn't even thinking about all the people in there. I wasn't even nervous about that. It was more just nerve-wracking talking to the celebrity judges that you see on TV all the time. So.
And were you kind of sequestered from like the judges? You weren't allowed to interact with them or anything at all, or like Terry Crews, you weren't able to talk to them beforehand?
So with Terry Crews, we kind of, before we went out, I think we like exchanged a few words with him. But like when we're out on stage with the judges, what you see on TV with us interacting with the judges, that's kind of all that there was. There wasn't like, between what they shot on camera, we could like actually go up and talk with them, unfortunately.
When the two of you told everyone to leave, so I'm just kind of curious how much of that was real.
Yeah. So pretty much what happened, it's pretty much 80% real to what happened, I guess. So on the show they made it look like we went out there, kicked everyone out, and then built overnight. But what really happened was, we went out there, we were the last act of the night. We actually did kick everyone out, everyone left, but then which is kind of funny because I think the judges knew we were going to kick everyone out, but I don't think the audience knew. So it was they were I guess, all surprised. So everyone's kind of leaving, and then we start getting set up because we built around the judges' platform, so we had to help build that whole deck.
Or we kind of watched them as they laid all the platforms and made sure everything was good to our liking.
And then we didn't actually build overnight. We came back the next morning and started. It was a dark day on set, so there was nothing going on. So we just built all day that day. And then the day after that, we came back and we performed as the first act.
There was the moment where they cut to commercial. Mm-hmm. And the little teaser before they cut to commercial where supposedly you had dominoes fall down or something. What was that in reality?
Yeah. So the incident where some stuff almost fell over right before our topple, that was what you saw on TV was, I think, pretty much what actually happened. Yeah. We were probably 5 minutes from going. I remember the whole camera crew being ready. They were just kind of getting the judges set and getting us in our positions where we were supposed to stand. Then all of a sudden, we hear these cups fall over at the other side of the platform. And we don't know if it was like the floor was slowly shifting as people walked past, or maybe like a little bit of AC or something. But yeah, we had to, luckily the cups didn't hit anything. So we just went over, cleaned up the cups. We didn't put them back. And then, basically after that, I think we actually toppled it a couple minutes later.
If something had happened where dominoes started falling, do you have any way of stopping that?
Yeah, so something that every domino builder does when they're creating a project is that they leave these spaces called safety gaps in the dominoes. So every so often you'll leave like maybe 5 or 6 dominoes out of a line, so that way if something gets knocked over and you can't stop it, it'll stop on its own. But then the thing is you have to fill in those gaps at the end, which I think with the cups, we had filled in the gaps and then the cups fell after that. So if something went, we would have had to like run in and save what we can. And then, who knows what would have happened at that point, but luckily that did not happen.
So yeah, we did get the 4 yeses
from the judges in our America's Got Talent audition to get sent from the audition round to the next round, which is the live shows. But after our audition, and this happens to every act, when we're backstage, some of the producers tell us that, you know, and we knew this before as well, that if you get 4 yeses, you're not necessarily for sure through to the next round, because the judges will end up cutting some acts out because every year this happens, they send too many acts through to the live shows. So about maybe a month or two after our audition, we eventually got an email that we weren't selected to go on to the next round.
Were you like 19 or so when you did the Domino Masters?
We were probably 20, 21. If it was filmed in
We were
2021,
20. It was
so
summer of
we were
2020.
20.
Yeah, so we were 20.
Domino Masters, we filmed in the summer of 2021. It was in Marina del Rey, California. So the whole set, it was a massive set. It was in a private airport hangar, because they had 4 platforms, one for every team. Like each platform was like 25 square feet. So the set had to be huge. And we were in California for that for 6 weeks, and we were on 5 different episodes. So it was like we were there for a long time. It was a lot of fun, like super competitive. Probably one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done. Yeah, it was really cool because there was 18 teams, something like that, and we maybe met
16 teams, maybe
a little over half of them. So it was cool to meet a lot of other domino builders that we hadn't met before, and also be able to compete against them.
Yeah.
You have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, and the show was put on by Fox, so like a big network. So it was really cool to see like all this work that they were putting into something that really hasn't been recognized that much. Domino art, domino toppling, whatever you want to call it, isn't like, you know, it's not something like pixel art or like Lego art or something that wide scale. Like you can find a lot of content online about that stuff, but domino is a little more niche. So it's really cool seeing the attention that they were giving dominoes with this competition show.
And that's kind of why when we first got an email about getting casted onto Domino Masters, we kind of thought it probably wasn't going to happen, or maybe it maybe wasn't legit, because like we never thought a big network like Fox or NBC or something like that would want to give dominoes a chance, especially give them their own show. Right. So when it finally came together, it was just like, yeah, super cool.
When I grew up, you know, it was a niche thing, but I remember seeing it on TV from time to time. Were there any of the old timers that specifically that you were influenced by?
I don't think there was any old timers that we were specifically influenced by, but there was definitely a few guys who had done dominoes this was a long time ago. I guess there's a few guys that did it in like the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, they set the like original world records back then.
There was John Wickham. He was one of the original world record holders. He did a couple different world record builds with a couple friends. Like I know he did one in Japan. So, and back then they just used like the wooden dotted dominoes, and you couldn't really build structures with those. So they were only building on the floor. So then I remember he mentioned to us like Domino Masters was his first time really building up, like building towers. So it's kind of cool to see, I guess, how dominoes have changed since way back then. But
yeah, when we kind of the first few years we were domino building, there were definitely other like bigger domino YouTube channels that we were like influenced by or inspired by. Like that's kind of how we get inspiration for some of our videos, is honestly like watching other people's domino videos and brainstorming ideas based on things that they've created and coming up with new ideas based on things that they've created and making it your own. But yeah, I mean, I remember watching like domino videos for hours on end when we were growing up. So those original kind of domino YouTubers definitely had an influence on us.
Are you in contact with any of these people?
Yeah, we're in contact with a few. There's a biannual domino event we're a part of. So every 2 years we go to Michigan and we do a build with around 100,000, 150,000 dominoes, and we usually try to break some sort of world record every time. So the first time in 2022, we broke the world record for the longest domino wall, and then built a whole setup themed around it, like celebration and colors, festivities type stuff. And then this past April of 2024, we went back and we broke the world record for the largest two-dimensional pyramid, and we made it look like a giant slice of pizza, and the rest of the setup was themed around food.
And
so I think that event had 7 other builders, and we
It
usually
was like 9, or I don't remember.
we have a big
but-
group chat together with all of them, so we keep contact with them a little bit. So
Yeah, and honestly, the domino community, like the Domino and Rube Goldberg Machine community, everyone on YouTube that makes videos around that, it's pretty tightly knit, I'd say. A lot of people within the community keep in contact with each other, just because there's not like, you know, a ton of builders. In terms of like active builders, there's probably like a few hundred that are currently active. So yeah, it's through like group chats and like Discord and stuff, we keep in contact a lot. So it's pretty cool to see.
Do you know how to play dominoes?
The actual game.
The actual game dominoes.
So
I haven't played it in a long time, but
yeah,
I don't remember if I know how to play it actually. Like, I mean,
it's been at least like 10-12 years since I've last played the game.
yeah,
So
so probably not.
I know you have to like match the 2 ends together with the same number, something like, I don't know how the scoring works at all. I don't remember, but
That's
yeah,
basically
I
it.
definitely know domino toppling more than the actual game.
Do you have any favorite moments that you can remember besides the really big ones? America's Got Talent, Domino Masters.
Yeah, so some other pretty cool experiences that we've gotten through like dominoes and our YouTube channel is that we've been able to get kind of turn it into a business almost. So occasionally we'll get contacted by a company that might want a domino build or a domino video for either their social media or maybe to promote some product, or like maybe they want their logo out of dominoes. So for example, this past spring we were both, or I was in Paris and I was with one other person, and we were working on a domino build for like a corporate event, and Alex was in Chicago this past spring as well for the same company but just a different event. And we were also both in Italy a couple of years ago to do a domino build for an event there as well. And then we've also done a couple projects where we filmed them at our own place, but they're for different companies. For example, we did one for McDonald's Australia. They wanted like a hamburger built out of dominoes, as well as they wanted a little chain reaction demo with like different McDonald's items like cups and bags and stuff like that. And what else?
I think we did one for YouTube TV and
Oh,
NFL
yeah,
Sunday
that was
Ticket last year. So for NFL Sunday Ticket, since it's on YouTube TV, for their commercial breaks, they do these like moment of Zen spots. So instead of a commercial, they'll have like a minute-long clip of just like some sort of calming nature scene, like maybe a waterfall running, or like just a video of the prairie or something. So one year this past year, they wanted to have YouTubers make like satisfying videos for those moment of Zen spots. So they had us make a football themed video, which was really cool. And I never actually got to see the whole spot because we don't have YouTube TV, but we got a few comments on our channel saying people had seen it, and I had a friend that sent me a video of it on their TV. So that was really cool to see. Definitely super mainstream as well. It was for the NFL.
Yeah.
Are you fans?
Yeah, I watch football quite a bit.
Big,
I'm going
big
to
Vikings fans. Sadly.
I'm going to the Vikings game hopefully this weekend.
Good.
Tickets are super expensive, but
Yeah.
Maybe this
wanna
year
go.
they'll actually do something.
What was your biggest fail or setback?
Well, yours in Domino Masters probably.
oh yeah.
You can
Yeah, in the first episode of Domino Masters, we were building, or I guess I was building, a giant bridge structure for the finale of our first round build. I think I had like 3,000 dominoes, and I had spent like 3 or 4 hours on it, and I was literally placing the last few dominoes, just the connection points to actually get it to knock down. And I don't know what happened. I think I just misplaced something, and then the whole thing went down. And the worst part was we only had like an hour and a half left in the build, and that was like our finale structure. So thankfully we kind of improvised. We made a smaller version of it, and we were able to build it just in time. But like, yeah, it was pretty disappointing because it looked pretty cool in its original form. So yeah, it was disappointing, and it definitely put us back a little bit. We obviously wasted like 3 hours, so we didn't get to build everything that we wanted to put in the setup. But
I remember when it first happened, I didn't think we were going to get something rebuilt back in time, and I thought I don't know if we were like screwed or if we weren't going to have a finale to our build, but we somehow replaced this. We built something smaller in place of it, but I mean, we cranked that thing out in the last hour, and we were able to recover from it. But it was close.
There's an old tale that twins, sometimes they can kind of
read each other's
minds or whatever. Do you feel like maybe being twins gives you a certain synergy when building and designing and working together that maybe other teams might lack?
I mean, maybe a little bit. Like, I think if he gives me like an idea of something to build, since I've lived with him for so long, I can maybe kind of get a better idea of what he wants just based on what I've seen in the past. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we do have twin telepathy. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely know like if I want a certain thing done, I don't have to maybe explain it too much to Alex. He almost kind of knows what I'm thinking. So
maybe it's just
we trust each other a little more.
More about being brothers and having
exactly.
lived together than twins. How many takes does an average build require to get everything to fall down perfectly?
Yeah, so with domino builds, usually during the building process, we'll do a lot of testing, because obviously if something stops partway through while we're filming, for the final topple, we're knocking it down for the video and it stops partway through, that'd be a pain to rebuild it all. So we'll do a lot of testing to make sure everything works. But if something does stop in the final topple, usually we'll just kind of edit it out if it's too far in, just because of how much time it might take to reset something. But if there's a format called screen links for domino videos, where it's basically you build like a small clip and there's a line coming into the frame and then a line going out of the frame, and then you can build a bunch of clips like that and connect them together when you're editing, and then it kind of looks like one continuous video. And those are usually smaller projects, so if there's a stop, sometimes you might have to reset it. We've had clips where we've had to reset it 5 or 10 times. But then when it comes to like the Rube Goldberg and chain reaction machines, those are meant to go all the way through in one take. So the biggest machine we've done was several years ago. It was like in 2018, but that one took 168 tries, I think, until we got a working take. So,
and I think from when we finished building the machine, so we probably spent a month building the machine, and we probably spent another month just filming. So we started the machine. Maybe the machine has like 200 unique steps. Maybe gets like 50 steps in, it stops. You got to rebuild it, do it again, reset it, and do it again.
It's not like dominoes where you have to rebuild everything. It's a lot quicker. But I mean, resetting a machine 168 times is still very time consuming.
But then when it finally works that one time, it's super satisfying. Like super worth it. I think maybe, I guess our first kind of viral video was, I think, what were we, sophomores in high school?
Yeah.
So we decided to make we were watching the YouTube channel Do Perfect a lot at the time, the trick shot guys. So we decided to make like a tribute video to them, a big screen link video that had a bunch of theming around the Do Perfect group, stuff like that. So we posted the video, and then a couple hours after we posted, Dude Perfect retweeted it on their Twitter. So that was pretty cool. I think it got a pretty big spike in views. It maybe went to like 100,000 views right away, and then it kind of slowed down a little bit. But then like a week later, kind of started really climbing in views and got like a couple million views really fast. And our subscriber count went from like 800 to 10 or 15,000 super quick. And then since this was our first viral video, this was like the first time we see like actual money. Like before that we had maybe made like $200 over the last year, and all of a sudden we made like $1,000 in 1 month. So we're like, hey, maybe this is like could actually be something, some sort of side hustle, or maybe could even turn into some full-time opportunity. But
is that a goal? Full-time?
Yeah, I think it's a goal. It's definitely super tough, because especially when you're doing content creation, it's super inconsistent. So you could have some months where you make like $200 and for a couple months, and then you have some months where you maybe make a couple $1,000. So I guess it's kind of stressful that way. I think it definitely would be cool to be able to do dominoes full time. There are a couple people I think there's 2 builders that do dominoes full time. They get most of their money from their YouTube ad revenue, and then also getting these paid contracted gigs. So I think it's definitely a goal.
Yeah, it's kind of always been like a goal in the back of our minds, as like probably since like our first viral video, like hey, this could actually be possible. You never know. It's obviously tough to do, but
yeah, like he said, between like making money off social media and like getting hired for these freelance projects, I mean, it's definitely possible. So
I appreciate you guys welcoming me into your home and telling me your story. And it's a really cool one, and I look forward to what you have coming up in the future.
I'm looking forward to the video too. So
thanks.